Hello and good day to you. I am B.R. Maul. I am the author of the young adult fantasy fiction um, series, Portals, Passages, and Pathways. And in my hand, I'm currently holding book one in the Land of Magnanthia. I'm here to discuss one of the most common questions I receive from readers and friends and family. Why do I write young adult fantasy fiction? And my answer is twofold. One, young adult. Let's cover that. I really like young adult fiction because young adult captures what I feel is the most crucial and often exciting time in our lives, and that's that time when we're leaving our childhood and entering into adulthood and discovering who we are, what our purpose is in life. And it's such an important time in our life. So I love, the time of life, the first kiss, um, the discovery of what one really loves in life, our passions, as we grow out of our childish ways and become adults and mature, being able to have empathy and understanding and to start gaining wisdom just from those around us and from life. So that's why I love young adult. There's just so many exciting things to touch upon. Um, why fantasy? Well, I love fantasy fiction because my inspiration comes from C.S. Lewis. As a little boy, I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and of course loved it. It was just wonderful. Um, Shortly after, upon that same time, kind of wandering the dark rows of my elementary school library, I stumbled upon The Hobbit. And opening up to the table of contents, I saw the chapter entitled Riddles in the Dark. Well, I was intrigued. I had to know, well, why is it called Riddles in the Dark? I mean, it was just something about that. It was just so fascinating. So, of course, I checked out the book, read it, and ever since, I just love fantasy fiction. So growing up, I loved playing Dungeons and Dragons with my brother and some of our friends. Just fun. I mean, it's really hard to explain. I guess I think for those of us who love fantasy fiction, you understand. It's that finding lost treasures. Um, it's the magic spells. You know that mystery of magic, and how wizards or clerics and other magical beings and people can capture that and use the magic for both good and for bad. Um, Dragons. I mean, enough said there. I mean, come on, dragons. You gotta love dragons. Also, just castles, knights. I mean, the whole feudalistic society. Just the whole concept is just, I don't know, wonderful. So I've always enjoyed fantasy fiction. So um, of course, as I was older, J.K. Rowling came out with Harry Potter, and upon discovering that series, I really enjoyed it. Again, young adult fantasy fiction, um, and so really, Portals, Passages, and Pathways has kind of a feel and a mixture of all three. C.S. Lewis, I didn't think or didn't know I was going to be an allegorical writer. I am, much like C.S. Lewis. I know he's a very heavy allegorical writer. Um, Unlike his counterpart, his best friend, J.R. Tolkien, who claimed he was not an allegorical writer. Um, and But with Tolkien, uh, his love for language intensified how deep he went into the fantasy realm. And of course, to this day, sometimes he's referred to as the father of fantasy, because so many of the elven history and dwarven history, um, and just of fantasy realms really come from a lot of what he designed. So, um, two different authors, C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, loved them both. Um, One is quite vague, C.S. Lewis. He doesn't get into deep descriptions. And then you have Tolkien, who, yeah, he can spend a page and a half just describing a path and what the path looks like in the trees and the history of that path. So quite different ends of the spectrum, but I love that. And then of course J.K. Rowling. Um, what I loved is how she brought the relationships of her characters to the story, with Harry Potter and Hermione, and Ron. Their relationships were very interactive and complex in some ways, and of course simple in others. And that's the way our relationships are in real life. And again, reflecting on young adult literature, that young adult literature really gets to touch upon that time of life when relationships uh, are more abundant. It seems to be easier for young people to make friends, but also to lose friends, and a lot of that is because at that time in our life we're adjusting and trying to discover who we are. The more we get to know who we are, then our relationships bloom. And I think Rowling did a terrific job. And at the same time, of course, utilizing the fantasy fiction realm. And of course, let's take a look at the actual fantasy fiction itself, or I mean the realms. Um, C.S. Lewis, the realm, of course, is separate from our realm, um, our real realm, if that's one way to look at it. So completely separate. Um, the kids have to pass through basically a portal. Of course, the wardrobe being one of the most popular, and entering into his world of Narnia. And of course, then you have J.R. Tolkien. With Tolkien, the realm is just completely, it's just standalone. There's no reference to this realm, our realm, or any other realm. So it's just a standalone. And of course, Tolkien gets very in depth and deep into his world. And then Rowling, uh, different yet, mixes them. Often what is now referred to as urban fantasy, because it mixes in with today's time the fantasy fiction right along with it. So you can have archaic spells, casting fire and lightning spells right on a paved highway, hitting cars or whatever it may be that's going on. So she took that stance. I love all of them. To me, that's just fun. So portals, passages, and pathways, with in the Land of Magnanthia, anyways, takes more the stance of the C.S. Lewis, where Magnanthia is completely different from our realm, but they coexist. They both are around. So now that could change. The face of that could change, because if Magnanthia, if any of the magic or characters were to ever come to our realm, well, then of course it would become urban fantasy as well. So, if anything, kind of a hybrid, because again, Magnanthia is completely separate. They don't coexist, but then, if they start to live in each other's realms, it depends, of course. I suppose the diehard urban fantasy literature readers would argue the fact that still wouldn't be, but I guess we can all see it a little differently. Um, so anyway, I guess without taking up too much more of your time, which by the way I do appreciate, I really hope that you take the time, check out Portals, Passages, and Pathways. The book, I started writing over 6 years ago. It's not something I just kind of threw together. There's a lot of it is born just throughout my life. things that have kind of caught on and have always remained in my heart. And the characters started to come to life on their own. And book one took about 4.5, 5 years to get through. And of course, now things are moving much faster because I have the foundation, and that foundation I think is wonderful. It is so fun. The characters are alive, and we get to know them very well. Simon Whitaker is our protagonist, and he's the one that Magnanthia reaches out to help them and to become the next guardian of Magnanthia. And then, of course, Jak Jacobson. He's also from Earth. Both boys are from our realm, Earth. Um, and he is just a very dark person. Has a lot of hate and animosity towards other people and life in general. And he ends up also in Magnanthia, and they go down two completely different paths. And of course, all my references to paths and portals, you can start to see there's a reason why the series is called Portals, Passages, and Pathways, because a lot of it is about trying to find our way. What is our purpose in life? And that's kind of the struggle both Jak and Simon um, try to discover. And in that path of life, along the way, like the rest of us, they make a lot of wrong decisions, but they also make some really good decisions too. So, um, and I guess that's about it. So again, I'm BR Maul, Portals, Passages, and Pathways. The series is underway. Book number 2 hopefully will be available this fall of 2014, and book 1, In the Land of Magnanthia, is available right now on paperback at on Amazon.com, and of course ebooks. Pretty much every e-retailer on the internet has it. So again, thank you so much for your time, and happy reading.